motorcycle maniacs. Today we're going to assemble the carburetor of a Yamaha XJ550 together. We've got an 83 model year on the table. As always, I'll show you using a single carburetor as an example. The others are built identically, so you'll be able to handle those on your own. Before we get started, I'll show you what tools we'll need. A lot of Allen screws have already been installed here. So I need a small Allen key, a Phillips screwdriver in size PH2, and one in size PH3. Then I have a small selection of different ones here. A large flathead screwdriver on the table. A thin fuel hose, a small needle nose pliers, a small but strong flashlight, and an open-end ring spanner in size 12 millimeters, and some silicone spray. Works really well for assembly. Alright, and then we can get started. So, friends, before we really get going, there are two things to check. First, let me show you. There's a small air channel here. It directs air to the jet holder of the main jet, so the fuel is already pre-mixed there with air. And here, I just take a thin fuel hose and try to fit it exactly onto this opening. Then I can hear down here that the air is coming out as well. Yep, that works. And secondly, there's an air channel up here, and there's a jet inside. Let's blow through that as well. This air channel supplies air to the idle system. After the continuity check, we go back to the piggy here. Should definitely mention that. Here, eye, nose, dog, you can see it. Now, this little air jet goes in here. There we go. You can't mix this up with the main jet, because the head is smaller here, otherwise, it wouldn't fit at all. There you go. And just to explain for you guys, these two openings here, this is the venting for the float chamber. If you shine a light in there, you'll see it light up down here. Alright, we've checked everything and we can get started. We'll start by installing the part load needle into the slide. And if you take a look here, you'll see a tiny little notch. I'll just turn it a little bit. In the plastic, right there, yeah. That notch goes in down there. There you can see the center hole. And underneath it, there's another small hole. Exactly, you can see it perfectly. And that's where the notch goes in. So you need to carefully turn it a bit like this. Then you'll notice it kind of clicks into place. There you go. Alright, it's in place. Now, the small plastic disc with the spring goes on top. I'll use needle nose pliers so I can thread it in properly. There we go. And now the locking plate goes on top, the one with the screws. It has 4 holes. The screws go into these recesses. The slightly raised holes stay open, because that's where the vacuum is directed upwards. Now, of course, the question is how to position this here. Alright, let's check again. There, okay. Now I just need to turn it into position, and then I can tighten the screws. It's a bit fiddly, but you'll manage just fine. So now we can install the slide and the diaphragm. I've sprayed the slide with silicone spray, as well as the carburetor housing. And now, please make sure, the diaphragm has a small tab here, and there's a matching notch in the housing. This is simply so you can't install it the wrong way, so the mounting position is always correct. And now I have to. The edge of the diaphragm needs to be nicely placed into the groove here. What should I do if the diaphragm has shriveled up a bit from sitting around for a long time? That can happen pretty quickly, so here's what you do. I've linked a video above with a suggested solution for that. In this case, it still fits perfectly, even if it looks a bit wrinkled. It's still elastic enough, so you can still use it just fine, like this slider. It's installed now. I had to make a small adjustment here. I was just a tiny bit off. Now everything is sitting properly here, and next, the spring goes in. And now the cover can go on. The cover has a little tab here that holds the spring in place so it doesn't slip. So you need to thread it through the middle here. And then the cover goes on here. And it's fastened with these 4 screws here. Tighten one at each corner. I'll do that now and then we'll continue. In the next step, we'll install the idle mixture screw. This is what it looks like. This is a new one, already assembled. As always, I'll link the new parts I'm using here for you. Please be kind and always check the video description. If any new information about this carburetor comes up later, or if I forgot to mention something, I can add it there. And to answer the question, does the carburetor guy actually make money from these shiny new parts here? Actually, the rule is. Here's the cool thing. If you use any of those links, you support our channel, helping it stay alive and grow. And you also support a great shop with fantastic reviews. So, this is what it looks like when assembled, and that's the order you put it together. The idle mixture screw itself, there's a spring on it, then a small washer, and then an O-ring. These are the old parts. I just laid them out here for you to look at. This is what the new one looks like. Assembled. This gets installed here in the carburetor. Just put a little bit of silicone on it. And position the carburetor so I can install it as horizontally as possible. That way, the washer and the O-ring don't accidentally fall off while screwing it in and end up somewhere uncontrolled. End up somewhere they shouldn't be, so screw it in all the way and then unscrew it a certain number of turns. Normally, at this point, I would tell you how many turns to unscrew it. I'll write that in the video description for you. Now, I've looked through all the literature available to me for the XJ550. And it always just says it's preset. So, I would just start now. With 2 turns, half a turn, a full turn, another half, and another full turn. If you have another book or any official information, XJ550, model year 83, please just leave a comment, and I'll be happy to add it to the video description. Alright friends, let's keep going. Now, about the float needle valve, there's something special that happened here, and it could happen to you too. This is what it looks like after you've taken it out. This was the original one, or at least the one that was installed, and this is the one you got with the repair kit. That's absolutely no problem at all. I just want to give you a tip, or rather, the advice to check one thing. Please put them together like this, and then hold them like this. Let me show you, right here at this edge, where it's been turned down, make sure it's at the same height and straight in front of you. I'll try to show you here, like this, and now take a look. You'll see this tiny little pin sticking out at the top, and it should be about the same height. Here it is. Let me turn it around for you like this. We have to be careful not to create any confusion. Almost exactly identical. It's simply about how much you need to adjust the float level. That's what it's about. Here, we might have about a 1 mm difference. That should be manageable. Of course, it's generally recommended to adjust or set the float level whenever you already have the carburetor out. I just wanted to show you, if it looks like this, don't be alarmed when you see this in your repair kit. This is fine and actually intended to be that way, so you can install it without any problem. I sprayed the float needle valve itself with silicone spray, as well as the seat a little, and now I can install it here. With a little bit of movement, it's carefully pressed in, and then we have this small retaining plate with the screw. I'll place it on so you can see it better. This is placed on from the side here and holds the float needle valve, or at least this inlet part. Here it is in position. The screw goes in here. There you go, now you can see it properly. That way, it can't slip out of place. Now comes the needle valve itself, which goes in here. This is one without a wire clip, so I can just insert it already. And usually, at this point, I tell you the float level you can set, and I include it in the video information in the video description. But in this case, there isn't one. In all the documentation I've found, it only ever mentions the method with the hose at the drain, meaning you use the principle of a water level. When the carburetor is installed and filled, you simply check that the fuel level is roughly at this edge, plus or minus 2 millimeters. Let's continue with installing the main jet and the idle jet. Remember, there's a small washer that goes under the main jet here. Let's get started with that. Place it in here like this, and then the jet goes in here. And is fastened here. I'll move my fingers out of the way in a second so you can see. There you go. When tightening it, keep this in mind. Please remember, it's a pretty soft material and only a small thread, so don't overdo it. And into this mounting opening goes the idle jet, which is this one here. Yep, I'll just drop it in here and screw it in as well. Again, don't overdo it. The small slot in the head can get damaged really quickly. There we go. Now we've installed the jet and the float can go in here like this, and then we have this little axle. It is pushed in from this side here. It all needs to move very smoothly. And then you can check if it moves freely. Yep, and then the lid can already go on. I've already put in the new gasket here, so I can just put the lid on like this. The 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, are tightened. And then we're already done on this side. The choke piston is mounted back here. Of course, I also sprayed both the choke piston itself and the mounting opening with silicone spray. You can easily start threading this by hand. Then we need the 12 mm combination wrench. Thank you very much. And we can fasten it here. Please remember here as well, don't overdo it. Yeah, this is a pretty soft material. Alright, and then we move on to the assembly. The actuating shaft is a bit of a hassle. Please make sure to clean it thoroughly and apply a bit of grease to it as well. Now you basically have to thread it in here, into the housing, and then slide the little lever on each time. That's how it sits on here, and now the shaft is pushed through here. Hold on, let me show you from the back here on the side. It gets pushed through here. And you do this for each individual piston. I also always have to make sure that you can actually see everything properly. This one goes on here too. At the end, please don't forget, the whole thing also needs to be greased and oiled, including these sliding surfaces here, so that everything works smoothly. Then please also check that the small spring here is properly hooked in. It should rest against here and up there next to the screw on the cover. The spring makes sure that it moves back on its own. That's how it should look. And now the task is to find the matching indentation in the shaft for each screw. I already showed you that in the disassembly video. So, here, it pulls in beautifully. Once you've got the first one lined up, the others will go in just as easily. And that locks it in place so it can't twist. Wonderful. And then I can show you again how it looks when it's operated. So, now all 4 Joe pistons are being actuated at the same time. Like I said, please make sure to lubricate here, and all around here. And of course, also these bearing points where the shaft runs through the housing. That way, you'll enjoy it for a long time. So, and as the last step, you can screw the heat shield back on here. Just screw it on. I won't show you that, since you could see it clearly in the disassembly video. The disassembly video is now linked above for you. And yeah, I hope you liked the video and that it was helpful for you. I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and, of course, a subscription from you. I wish you lots of fun and success with your project, and see you in the next video.